probably isn't a coincidence. The eve of the conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter, which we have said was or is the upside down star of Bethlehem. I noticed that I just had a webinar going in on controlled opposition a lot, and I realized that I need to define it explicitly, because it is basically what the container is of the self downward spiral to the upside down star. The upside down star is another word for the black hole. So we are being herded, pushed down towards that. All the movies show this as a upload to a singularity of sorts, which is basically an upload to a union with the reptilian, a upside down lamb or a goat. It's very important that we see this today. I've said that instead of marketing, we talk about inner thing, meaning it's about instead of but the controlled opposition is we are now in the controlled opposition mode regarding the vaccinations. So I will use this as an example, but the vaccinations, you have a group that is pro-vax and a group that is anti-vax, and this problem of controlled opposition is very well illustrated with this. You can see it, for instance, in politics. Any issue that gets drawn into politics is killed because you get one side that is automatically against it if it's from the opposing party, and one side that is for it. But within this, we find the essence of the mind control happening within the controlled opposition, meaning one side goes automatically against and one side for, without really thinking and reflecting on it. It's a mind lockdown. It is not a coincidence that all of the words we've been using as bubbles and lockdown, that it's all now becomes almost like a currency. The lockdown is the mind that is caught in controlled opposition, and we're seeing this in the vaccination and the anti-vax. We've seen presidents and the high officials in Africa. We have even seen Trump being anti-vax at a certain point. We've seen the Bolsonaros of Brazil making statements. It's like a global opposition emerging. This is why it's so dangerous, because as we've said, the black hole is on the inside. Science is caught in projecting what is inside outside. The black hole is on the inside, and if we get a global controlled opposition surrounding the vax, it means that the whole thing will be pulled downward towards this black hole. Mind you, we are able to get the meaning of this stuff. On the outside, science looks at it as phenomena. We see it from the inside as the nomuna. So we know what the black hole is in terms of meaning. Jungian psychology is between science and religion. It's neither science and neither religion. It's superior to both. So this controlled opposition is which we're seeing in this vax and anti-vax problem. What it does, one, it pulls you into one extreme mentally, where you cannot see the opposite side of the argument, and number two, it makes you push the other side into an extreme. So like the governments bringing it down on the people are creating this anti-vax movement, if you wish. You see, we push each other to opposite extremes when we are in this self state. So the governments that are pushing this are basically creating the anti-vax movement. But the anti-vax movement is also pushing the governments more into an extreme. So we're finding, if you were to work with any relationship between two people, you will see the same dynamic. The problem with pushing, it's not only that, once you go towards too much extremes regarding the outside, it's because you're pushing away that extreme on the inside. It's always a pair. By pushing each other to extreme opposites, and look at what's happening. This is what we called a psychotic bubble, because at a certain point, people do not talk to each other anymore. They're just talking to themselves, to the opposition in themselves, projected on the other. But then within this war, the other side, which also lacks enough ability to contain, will go along with it, which we call an interactive simulation. So we're creating this extreme polarity in the world regarding the vaccinations. And the other aspect of the controlled opposition is that the hardware turns outside in. It means that we are not able to move ourselves from the inside any longer, but we are caught in reaction. So when I say that there is a third option, between pro or against, the third is the only sanity in any conflict. It's like a third person that will oversee a conflict, where the two sides in the conflict are caught in a first person perspective. They cannot see their role in what they are pushing the other to, by manifesting their side too strongly. Not only that, it locks you in a reactive state. And that reactive state is geared towards making the other worse, more extreme, where you lose all ability to self-guide from the inside. You see, and that is where the world is ending up, in this global controlled opposition surrounding the vax and the anti-vax. The world is losing its ability to auto-determine itself, which is really also the true meaning of immune system. Immunity means that I have the ability to self-shield myself from the under layers, and I am able to control, drive myself from the inside and not react to simply what is happening on the outside. So this is what we found with the COVID. COVID basically took over the whole mind system, because we're just reacting to it. We're allowing ourselves to blame it for all kinds of things that would be actually totally undone. The rights and the martial laws that are being passed in all these nations are sort of arming up themselves against their own people, because they're projecting the very opposite of this, this state they are in. The hardware goes out of the door, and it means that you are not able to self-drive yourself anymore. And this is where we have seen in all of the movies, there is another parallel coming in. The world is going in reverse. We're being sucked in reverse downward into what they call the black hole, which is exactly what is happening now already in some nations. And now we're at the eve of that here. The conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter represents the upside down star, which is of course what they call the black hole or the black sun, which is now being said it's the Bethlehem star, because it's the upside down Christmas. We've said that the whole Sinterklaas and then Santa Claus thing is the upside down situation, because it was supposed to be about the birth of Jesus, which is not in December. But this is signing off a very rapid downward spiral descent of the Earth towards that star. That upside down star is what they call Saturn. The symbology regarding Saturn is very powerfully has been very powerfully exposed, with as being the Death Star and the man with the sickle and all of that. It announces that if we keep going into these controlled opposition bubbles, that the world, literally psychotic outbreaks will become a commonplace. We haven't had real mental care on this planet, this Earth, forever. It's been psychiatric drugging. So there has been no shadow work at all on this Earth. So it will be very, very hard for people to not be sucked into these controlled opposition dramas, which we're seeing in full force in the vax and anti-vax. There is a third position where we You see, the third position is not like some, not taking a stand or anything like that. It's just simply not allowing yourself to be sucked into the controlled opposition, which is a vessel for an upload. We know that the next step is, this gateway opening, this portal opening, and things, and people being uploaded to that, and vice versa. And the COVID has functioned as a very powerful catalyst to get the mind in this upside down state, because the controlled opposition turns the hardware in reverse, which means you go upside down. You're in the upside down spiral, and there has been news now that they say they have discovered a reverse parallel dimension. This is solid news. And it means, of course, if you see it out there, it's because it's inside. It's like when they saw the black hole outside, it's because it's inside. It's come into the purview of the inside of the mind, the collective mind. It means that that reverse spiral is what we are on now. Science is not able to see their projections, so what they see out there is what is inside. Equally, the solution obviously is, is inward. What they're looking for outside. The controlled opposition is like glasses pulled over your eyes, and it makes you see things in all white or all black, in a complete war between these perspectives, where you will externalize that and you will basically gaslight the other with your shadow. Because this is a level of shadow that is not compensatory. So we can't see from a perspective of a third person, which is where common sense resides. And we are pulled into these extremes, and we force the others into the complete opposite of our positions, and we create a self-fulfilling prophecy of self-sabotage. The side that is pushing the vax, cannot see its flaws, and the side that is opposing it now in an outside-in form cannot see, see its role in how it's fighting it on the outside and making it worse, and both cannot see reality anymore. You would need to work with this stuff, first-handedly with people to get the feel, of what I am seeing, to see the depths of how it's virtually impossible to pull someone out of that. Technically, it's out of that self-gaslighting state, which is then externalized outside, but it's a self-gaslighting state where you keep yourself in lockdown. The only way out is that third perspective between the two extremes, which can only be found inward in terms of your own opposites. And that puts you on the right side spiral. The upside down spiral, which is being fueled by this controlled opposition, will spiral off of the main branch, the main trunk of the tree. It will go into another virtual reality, if you wish, while the right one is going to the real reality, going back. The cycle has ended. 2020 is the real 2012. The Maya calendar has ended. There will be a split of the two spirals, and the controlled opposition is how the whole globe is being pulled into this schism. Once you're in a controlled opposition, you cannot see reality. You will get stuck in extreme projections. You will not be able to get back out of the downward spiral, which will pull massive amounts of people into what we know the black hole is, and what science thinks is somewhere out there. Anything science is now discovering out there is inside. It's all inside of us, on the inside if you wish. There is no chip on the outside. We are chipped on the inside when we enter the laptop state of the mind. Everything is on the inside. The outside is a projection. Equally, if you are able to exit the controlled opposition layer and get back to the natural yin-yang containment stage, it will be impossible to get caught into that false spiral, get pulled in. We will try to make the webinars much more frequent from now on and provide these updates. Like yesterday, we were saying that science happens in the laboratory, but this is the Jungian work that we have evolved is the only theory that fits living reality. This is why what we are saying is showing up in the movies, in the headlines, in everything. It's if you wish, a science of living reality, what Jung left for us. And we are riding that spiral, downward spiral, and that controlled opposition. If they achieve to split the whole world up in this vax and anti-vax schism, there will be very dramatic things happening on this earth. Very dramatic. There will be an outbreak of mass psychosis. There will be no way, no body, no government will keep some structure in all of this. And this is why they're passing all of these military laws. We will keep going to keep you abreast. What we can do is show you what is happening really from the inside, which already has a great value. But if you do not do your work on the inside, and especially the dream work, you're not getting on the right spiral without dream work. And we need a lot of support. We need you all to, in the next webinar, bring someone. Facebook doesn't allow when you post an event on Facebook, it's only seen in the country you are from. So we need help in spreading this. The webinars are the true Jungian school returned. Jung was sabotaged because he saw what was going to happen. Be well.